Hello everybody and welcome to Pravus Gaming. Let's try Last Day of Rome, the latest installment by Hamsters Gaming, and a big thank you to them for sponsoring today's video. Don't mind the extremely loud fire effects, they just really want to get the point across that Rome must burn. This is a strategy game set during the classical Roman era, but it does have an interesting twist to it. Rather than play as the Roman Empire, you play as the barbarians. You're sick and tired of the Romans pushing you around and trying to conquer the world. It's time to fight back. Although, with that said, Hamsters Gaming does plan on releasing Rome as a playable faction within the next few days, so if you want to be OP, you can, but I think it's way more interesting to play as the Barbarians. You don't get to hear their story all that often. Now, you might expect Last Day of Rome to have a lot in common with its predecessors from Hamsters Gaming, Evil Bank Manager, and Generals and Rulers. And the aesthetic is certainly there, but there are some key differences. In Evil Bank Manager and Generals and Rulers, the mechanics were relatively simple to understand, and once you figured out how to snowball out of control, the AI could not possibly keep up with you. In Last Day of Rome, the mechanics are far more complex and the AI far more competent. I find myself actually losing to them on a few occasions. And even if you are really good at the game and figure out how to snowball out of control, as a barbarian nation, you always have the looming threat of the Roman Empire on your borders, and if they turn their attention to you, it could be a very early GG. With all that out of the way, let's go ahead and start up a new game and show you how things work. Now, do keep in mind we are technically still using a developer's build. There might be some hot code. Any bugs will have to get hot fixed before the game releases on September 7th. Now, at the beginning of the game, you can see that there are 9 different tribes to pick from, with the Romans to be added very soon. We have the Picts, the Franks, the Getae, the Burgundi, the Alemanni, the Ants, the Veneti, and the Alans. Each faction has its own description. They start with their own different number of regions, a few different bonuses, to try and set them apart from all of their neighbors. For example, the Picts, their buildings cost 30% less. At the beginning of the game, you start with 20% more gold, and your wood production is increased by 30%. The Picts, however, only start with one region, so they are considered to be a fairly difficult and complex nation, but they do not start with a border with Rome. That is actually rather crucial if you're going to be playing this game, because if you start bordered with Rome, like let's say the Franks, you never know, you might just face an early demise. We're going to play as the Alemanni. They start with only 2 regions, they are bordered with Rome. We apparently have stronger archers and cavalry than normal, but otherwise it is considered to be a 4-star complexity nation. To win, we need to capture 40 regions in the game. Our faction has the bonus of cheaper buildings, more money, and wood production, so the exact same bonuses as the Picts, but maybe just a tiny weeny little bit easier? I don't know. Let's go ahead and start up a new game. True to form with a lot of other Hamsters Gaming titles, a lot of the gameplay is centered in your capital city, where you can upgrade your buildings, hire new units, and divert your resources. If you want to declare war or interact with other factions, you need to go to the campaign map. So here we are, just north of Italy, with 2 regions to our name and a lot of tribal neighbors. I do believe that the developers have stated they want to add diplomacy to the game at a later date, but as of this development build, it is not implemented yet, so that is likely to follow in the near-ish future. You can see here the Roman Empire in red. It's actually the Western Roman Empire. There is an Eastern Roman Empire here as well, so that gives you some idea of the time period we are currently playing in, the rise of the Byzantines, and the fall of the Roman Empire. Hopefully we can help that along just a wee little bit. All right, let's go to town and talk about resources. So we have gold, which is exactly what you think it is. You use it to buy and sell resources and to hire generals. Science points lead to research in the library, which you can use to get a wide variety of bonuses, or mostly just stat improvements for all your different units. But there are a few nice things, like every captured town adding some extra gold per turn, and so on. And there are plenty of researches to go through, so this will keep you busy for a while. Stack up enough research, and you can have a pretty nice technological advantage over your opponents. There are recruits, which is exactly like your manpower. Anytime you want to hire a new unit, you're going to need a certain number of recruits. Recruits generate every turn based on your current population. Now, it says here that it's 1% of the residents of your country. It's actually 0.1% because 449 is 0.1% of 449,000. So we can increase this number by upgrading our recruitment center right here. So you can see that increases the percentage slightly. And you can increase your population by building out the suburbs or by conquering new lands with more population. We also have iron and wood. These are 2 basic resources you are going to need for pretty much everything. Wood upgrades all your buildings, very important to get a lot of early on. Iron is used to train troops and equip them, and is also used to upgrade your troops, which we will cover in a little bit. First things first, I'm going to go over here to the generals. Generals are extremely important in this game. We're going to go ahead and hire a new one using some gold right now. They live till the age of 60, and then they are forcibly retired unless you give them some perks that let them stick around a little bit longer. Looking around at these guys, I think we'll hire this guy with the infantry tactics and the marksman tactics. I guess he'll be just fine. Now, something that is not covered in the tutorial but is extremely important is the skills of your general. A little button just highlighting right here. Over time, your generals are generating XP, and you can use that XP to hire some different perks for your general and make them better at something. Maybe make your units fight stronger, or if you go to the technical side, there's a lot of different governor-type abilities, increasing the amount of resources and gold that are being generated by your provinces. I've discovered it is extremely advantageous to get training very early on. Normally you get XP by fighting enemies, but if you pick this up, your general gets a lot of extra XP every turn, regardless of whether you're fighting, and all that extra XP leads to a lot of free perks very early on. So better generals, better governors, giving you more recruits, more resources, more gold. So I am absolutely going to be picking up training on both of these guys first. Not going to do anything else, just pick this up, and you'll see we're going to snowball out of control pretty quickly. Next thing I'm going to do is go over to the woodcutter's house, and we are going to go ahead and give this guy an upgrade. You can see it is generating 0 wood per turn right now. If we upgrade it once for the cost of 100 wood, we're going to get 150 per turn. Absolutely worth it. Now it's going to cost a little bit more, now a little bit more, now a little bit more, but now we're generating 650 wood every turn with a level 4 woodcutter's house. Going to do the same sort of thing over here in the iron mine if we can, so let's give you a couple of upgrades. Can only do it a couple times, we'll add more on later. But for now, that means we're going to start generating 300 more iron per turn, which we need to equip our units. And honestly, with all of this extra gold, I think I'm just going to go ahead and immediately buy a whole bunch of extra wood. I don't need anything else right now, just want the wood. You can see that there are a bunch of different luxury resources that are going to be available in the game. These don't seem to fill any particular purpose except for selling to make extra money, so we'll generate some of these for cash later. For now, let's just go ahead and buy a lot more wood. And I'm going to go to the iron mine. I'm going to give it one more quick upgrade if I can click on it. There we go. And then let's go over to our suburbs, because I would like to increase our population by another 200,000, which means I will get 200 more recruits per turn. So that's actually a pretty substantial increase, far more advantageous than increasing your recruitment center. Though now if we want to upgrade this for a slightly higher percentage, we'll get another 38 per turn. We could upgrade that again. We'll do it once, I guess. There we go. Now we're making 800 recruits per turn. I'd love to get this up to at least a few thousand as quickly as we can, because I find that manpower is a rather substantial bottleneck. Now, if we go to the map, you can actually also upgrade the provinces themselves, so not just your capital city, but also each individual province can be upgraded. If we go to Burdigala, right here, for example, I'm going to try clicking there. There we go. Okay. So you can upgrade several different buildings in this specific region, and they give you also more resources. In order to do this, you need workers, which means you need to upgrade the infrastructure of your town. We're going to spend some wood right here. Upgrade that. We get 2,000 workers that I can now spend on something else. A sawmill for another 100 wood per turn will cost me 700 wood and 1,000 workers, which I will happily do. Boom. Now we're going to be generating even more wood out of our capital city. If I had a little bit more wood, we could go for something else as well, such as schools, which give you 20 extra science points per turn. That's actually pretty substantial, because in the town, if you upgrade your library, let's go to the right button here, there we go, 600 wood is going to give you only 3 extra, or I guess 6 extra research per turn. So upgrading the individual regions with libraries and schools can make a pretty substantial difference. We'll come back to all of that later, though. Now that we've increased our population and gotten our economy up and running, let's take a look at our generals and see what units we can recruit. Each general can control 4 infantry, 4 marksmen, and 4 cavalry units. So we want to give a fair bit of diversification in the unit type for our armies, which is already an upgrade from some of the previous titles by Hamsters Gaming, where you just wanted whatever has the highest attack value and whoever has the highest number wins. Different type of units absolutely matter in this game, and you want to have some diversification in your army composition. Let's take a look at infantry, for example. Infantry, we start with access to the clubsmen and the axemen, with several different types that are available once you upgrade your barracks and research them. Now, these units have a pretty comparable value of attack damage, 18, so they do 18 damage per attack to the enemy, and they have 4,000 life. But down here you can see some different numbers. These are modifiers to that attack value. So for example, a clubsman has 60% damage effectiveness when attacking a cavalry unit, compared to the axeman, who only has 30%. So a clubsman is better at killing the horses, whereas axemen are better at killing infantry and at killing the marksmen. Upgrading these numbers so you have as big of a modifier as possible is a huge advantage, and then increasing your base attack value and your base life can go a long way. We'll show you some extra combat later, but the same concept applies to your archers and to your cavalry. Archers do a pretty hefty amount of damage, but have a little bit lower life. Cavalry do a lot of damage, but have significantly lower life. So they are just basically your glass cannons. You have to use them to quickly finish off your opponents. We're going to start by going ahead and grabbing a couple of axemen. You can see down here that it requires some recruits and some iron. Actually, before I do this, I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. It does cost recruits and iron, but before we hire anybody, let's actually talk a little bit about upgrades. At the training camp, this arena right here in the middle of your town, you can upgrade your various units. Now, every unit starts at level 1. You can choose a free perk. You can then spend some iron to upgrade them to the next level and get a new perk. In the case of our axemen, for example, we can increase the base number of troops by 5%. So that increases the life by 5%. Actually pretty advantageous. Or we can increase the damage modifier against other infantry by a further 15%, which is also pretty nice. I value life a lot, so we're going to go ahead and pick this up. Another 200 life for this unit means it's going to survive a little bit longer. We can then upgrade it, and we can either increase its base damage by 5%, so instead of 18, it'll do 19, or we can increase the modifier specifically against marksmen by 15%, which I'm actually going to go ahead and do. Let's upgrade them again. We can attack infantry better. Looks like they're the same perk no matter what. And then one more time will give me a troop formation costs 30% less iron. So if you want to hire new troops, it costs me a little less iron than before. I find that to be pretty good to ensure that you can field more troops a little bit faster, though again, recruits end up being your bottleneck more often than not. That's one of the reasons I wanted to go ahead and do some of these upgrades now, because if I'm going to go over here to the infantry and hire up some axemen, rather than costing 400 iron, I want it to cost 297. So now it's a tiny little bit cheaper than if I hired them and then did my upgrades. We're also going to hire up a couple of hunters. They're going to cost me a little bit, and some cavalry. Let's try a rider and also a cavalry lancer, so I have a bit of diversification in what they are good at attacking. If you want to assign these new units, we just go to the general's army, and we choose to assign these axemen, these hunters, the rider, and cavalry lancers. So that's half of an army more or less set and ready to go right now. I could try attacking somebody. I just don't think it's a very good idea. This gives you some idea of the number of troops that are currently fielded here and their relative power, what they're good at fighting. Right now, for example, we're pretty decent at taking out archers, not so good against fortifications or against infantry. Fortifications are a whole nother beast that you have to deal with. They are only for defense, so obviously they don't move around. If we take a look at our upgrades here, you can see that we start with watchtowers and reinforced watchtowers, which also can be upgraded. If you want to access new types of fortifications, you need to build the engineer's house. We do that real quick. That would cost me 1,000 wood to do that. Not really a high priority from the second. Just building an engineer's house in your capital only unlocks new types of fortifications, though. If you want to have fortifications in a province, you have to go to the province map mode right here. Click on the province, and then use your workers and some wood to create a school of engineers. This adds an extra fortification point. Every new fortification point is going to add in another fortification. We're not going to worry about anything else right now, though. Let's go ahead and finish our first turn. You can see we generate some more wood and a little bit more iron. Kind of a paltry amount of iron. I would certainly like a little bit more. We're also generating our science points, which we should go over here right now and assign these to go to something productive. We could increase our damage to enemy fortifications by 4%, enemy infantry, marksmen, cavalry, and so on. I think I want to start working here toward regions production. Each captured town generates an extra 200 gold per turn. Right now, we don't have anything generating gold except for resources to sell. So this is actually going to be pretty nice as we start conquering things. It currently is going to take me 67 turns to generate enough science points to actually finish this. So I'm going to go ahead and set this, but we're going to need to increase our science generation a lot. And to do that, now that I've moved on to the next turn and we have a little bit more wood, I'm going to go ahead and set up a quick school. 20 science points per turn is way better than any of the upgrades I could give to the library. We're going to do that there, and a turn, go to this province where I also have some workers, and do that one more time. Now we're generating like 43 science points per turn, which should speed things up by a lot. Now it's only going to take me 5 turns, so that's pretty quick. I'm also going to jump forward a few turns and make sure we have a fully manned army ready to go. So upgraded axemen, a bunch of hunters, and some riders and cavalry lancers. As I said, you probably want to diversify your troops, but I only have enough iron to upgrade certain troops for a while, so I tend to focus a lot on one. until I can come back to it a little bit later. So now we have a pretty decent amount of power behind us and a lot of troops that are fielded. Let's take a look at the skills of our general. You can see he is already up to 46 XP. If we had not picked up training, he'd be at like 4. So we can do a lot just by picking up training first. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade this twice. So he gets tons and tons of XP every turn. Now, this guy I think I'm going to use mostly as a combat general, so I wouldn't mind turning him into somebody who's good at doing extra damage to our enemies. We can increase our marksman attack damage, cavalry, infantry, and base number of troops increased by 1% is kind of like a health upgrade, so that's not too bad either. I'm going to go ahead and increase the marksman, the cavalry, the infantry, and the base number of troops. We're just going to do 1 across the board. That's a pretty decent general very early on in the game. With our other general over here, he's going to be primarily functioning as a governor, at least in the early game. So let's also get him upgraded in his training capabilities, so he gets a lot more XP. And then we want to increase, let's say, production, so we get 100% more iron and wood from this one province every turn. Now that we have a fully manned army, it's time to start bullying our neighbors. I think we're going to fight the Franks because they've got 3 regions. Not an absolute ton of population, but I think they'll be easy-ish to take out. So let's go to our general here, and we're going to move him over to Chant. Now this means we have to declare a war and attack the Franks. They do have an ally, but allies don't seem to help each other too often in this game. Right now, there is no way to create new alliances, but that is something that will get added with the diplomacy feature. So let's move our guy over here. We are now laying siege to Chant. In 2 turns, we will attack the city. He has an opportunity to move his troops over here and attack me in return, or at least defend when we do eventually start the siege. But I have a fully stacked army, so I feel relatively confident about our current chances. Let's also go ahead and upgrade our province once again. I'm going to go ahead and start producing some luxury goods so we can start getting some extra money coming in. So let's go ahead and start with, let's say, a small workshop's fine. We get to choose which of these luxury goods we want to produce. This, I have no idea how to read. Let's go ahead and produce some fabrics, I guess. We'll be able to sell that for gold later. And let's also upgrade some mines, so we can get a little bit of extra iron production per turn. And we still have a little bit more wood. Let's get another workshop right here and produce furniture. So we now have some luxury goods. If I were to end my turn here, for example... Oh, wait, he's attacking me. We'll have to come back to that. Let's first deal with this combat. The Franks have sent a pretty good number of troops after us. They have a higher number of troops fielded, but weaker power. So I think we might be able to win this. Now, this is one of the things that is the most interesting about Last Day of Rome compared to a lot of other titles. All right? It's all card-based combat. You choose your unit, choose who they want to attack, try to inflict as much damage as possible. Only 3 units can attack at a time. So I'm going to choose, for example, my Hunter. Now this Hunter right here, you can see has 19 attack value, pretty good against other archers and against cavalry, terrible against infantry. What I would like to do with this guy is find somebody that is weak to him, but doesn't do a lot of damage in return. So for example, this marksman right here is a prime target. We do a lot of damage to this archer, but this archer doesn't do a whole lot of damage to me. Alternatively, we could do the same sort of thing over here to the cavalry, especially these guys who are currently very weak against archers, and they do a lot of damage, so knocking them out of this fight is not a bad idea. So at this point, this is now locked, and what's going to happen is when we finish our turn, these guys are going to just attack each other until one of them is dead. So you take the 19, multiply it by 1.12, and that's the damage being done to their 1,500 health. Take their 41 attack, multiply by 42%, and attack my 3,180. We are going to do a lot more damage than they are. We have a lot more health. This should be an easy fight for me, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here with these hunters as well. Who else do I want to try taking out? I may want to take out their hunters. No, they can't really... they might be able to do something to me. What am I good at killing? I'm good at killing... You know what? Okay, we have an infantry unit here, for example, who's very bad against other cavalry, but we're pretty good against infantry. So let's take our rider and attack this axeman. Now that all 3 have been assigned, the attack automatically commences. He gets to choose his 3 targets, and now it's back to our turn. So let's see. I need to take out his archers. Well, let's see. You can actually easily kill his axeman. But do I want... Actually, hang on. Before we do anything else, he is cavalry. Ooh, we don't have any really good counters to his cavalry because he took out the last of my hunters. But my infantry are terrible against them, so we need to make sure we throw something against him. Ooh, his cavalry will beat us in a straight one-on-one fight here. This is actually going to be very painful. Okay, so we're going to throw this cavalry lancer to weaken him down. We actually might lose this initial fight. Let's take this cavalry lancer to take out... Ooh, he's got so many archers, though. We need to start weakening his archers so he can't kill my cavalry. Let's go ahead and send these axemen here, and these axemen over here, and try to take out his marksmen and hunters. Okay, he gets to attack. He kills a few more my units. So this rider is a problem, absolutely. Let's use the cavalry lancer to do as much damage here as possible. And then a fresh axeman here to kill this hunter. End turn. Okay, one rider left. He's going to kill that unit, but we should be able to finish you off. We might lose one more unit in the process. Nope, we got him. Okay. So we have 3 units remaining, and he is now attacking me again, but we have significantly less power. Oh, eek. Okay, we're going to lose our entire arm. No? What? Somehow we won. I don't know how that's possible, but somehow we won that fight. Okay, if you say so. Next turn, we are going to be able to siege the town and take over the province. Let's go to the town here. I need to hire up some new troops using my recruits and my manpower. We should already have 3 infantry, if I recall. Yeah, they're a little bit weak at the moment. I don't know if they regenerate automatically, but we want to primarily fill out the line with, let's say, some extra hunters. Who you can see, by the way, died very quickly, so they're not super duper powerful. And let's also pick up some extra riders like so. We can only afford that many. Then we're going to go over to our army, add these all in, and at least now we have a little bit more on the field to deal with the rest of the Franks. But they should be pretty easy for me to take out from here on out. All right, let's see. We got a little bit more wood. What should I invest in? We should probably try to be upgrading things like our suburbs a little bit more. I do need a lot more recruits. I think I will hold on to the wood for now. Let's finish the turn. He is attacking me again, but he has not got a lot of power this time, so let's go to battle. He attacks me with a cavalry lancer who does kill an axeman, and that is highly unfortunate, but I'll use a hunter to finish him off. End turn. You are going to lose a lot of units in this game. There's no way around it, as far as I can tell. I mean, obviously having higher tech units means they'll survive a lot longer, but you should just sort of assume that you're going to take some losses. Let's lay siege here. We take over the province, add them onto our total population. I'm going to move on with these guys over here and lay siege once again. Let's go back to the town. We can afford to hire, let's say, an extra axeman, an extra hunter, and 1 extra rider, like so. Go to the generals. I'm going to add all of them on here. Let's go to your skills. You have 55 XP again, so we can actually increase our life and our damage by a substantial margin. We are going to increase, let's say, our life, like so. Increase marksman, cavalry, and infantry damage rate at least a couple of times. In fact, we can actually upgrade a lot of this stuff. There we go. We have 7 extra XP. Let's increase our marksman damage. So we've just improved our army by a lot, really with no effort. By turn 11, we have a pretty darn good general, adding modifiers to everybody. I mean, I'm telling you, I think training might be a little bit OP at the moment. It's pretty good. Let's go to the market. We can actually sell off some of our luxury fabric and furniture. Just get a little bit of extra gold, which I will use to then purchase a bit of extra wood. And with that wood, I would love to upgrade the suburbs, so let's do that now. That's another 200 manpower coming in per turn. So we're making about 1,400. Okay. Let's also go to our general over here. And this general, who, by the way, has conscription, we can use him to actually just get 100 extra recruits each turn regardless. I'm going to go ahead and do this, and that's going to give me a lot of extra recruits every turn now for no extra effort. So that's pretty strong in and of itself. Let's also increase... let's increase our speechcraft so we get another 100% recruits. Oh, I can't? Okay. Why can't I? I can do research. I can spend my XP to get a lot of extra research points per turn, which I guess I'll go ahead and do. So now we're making like another, what, 90 science points per turn just from upgrading a general? I mean, that's pretty substantial. But for some reason, I can't upgrade speechcraft. We may have to come back to that a little bit later. We can reduce the cost of constructing buildings. We're going to go ahead and do that at least once. Can't afford anything else there. Governor, buyer to have extra luxuries, morale to make him live longer. No, I think the rest is going to have to do. We could go for some trade. We receive 1,000 extra gold per turn. All right, sure. That's going to greatly improve my economy just by upgrading my general to be something of a governor. Now that we have a new province, we should always be trying to develop it a little bit more. So we're going to go ahead and increase the infrastructure, get some extra wood, and let's go for some extra iron production since I've been a little low on that. Upgrade it one more time, and then probably a school and a workshop. Oh, we don't have enough wood. All right, we're going to have to come back to some of that. But yeah, always be developing your provinces. Let's move on to the next turn. He's trying to attack me, but he has literally nothing for his general, so he's just going to automatically die. There we go. And we should be able to lay siege to the province. We automatically take it because there are no defenders. Grab the general, move up over here. Now, this is something that happens once in a while, and I can't quite figure out how to get around it. I'm right-clicking like mad. It's just not registering the province. Do it enough, and eventually it's going to figure it out, usually. But it is certainly struggling. Come on. Try that. Come on. Come on. Come on. Get in the province. There we go. See, it does work eventually. It's just, it struggles for some reason. It's a little bit of a struggle bug. All right, market. Let's go ahead and sell off some of our extra luxuries. We're going to purchase a lot more wood because I want to have lots of infrastructure growth. Woodcutter's house, we can upgrade soon-ish. Do we want to upgrade the library? Not really. Recruits, another 69 manpower is okay. But a suburb would be a little bit more tempting. Alternatively, maybe we should go ahead and start upgrading our infantry barracks and stuff so we can start unlocking new types of units. Now, that feels a little bit early. Let's go ahead and move forward 2 more turns. He's attacking me. That's fine. Should easily handle that. Now, because he attacks, he gets the first round, hence why he was able to kill a unit just now. And that does make me a little bit mad, but let's go ahead and attack with this hunter. He dies. Say goodbye. Okay, now we should be able to lay siege, and there we go. The Franks have been eliminated from the game. We get all of their population, all of their resources. Not too shabby. Upgrade here, get some extra wood production. At some point, honestly, just going for the regional upgrades is a lot cheaper as far as increasing your resources than going for your capital improvements. So always be looking for whatever's going to give you the most value for the least amount of effort. That said, I am still going to upgrade our suburbs so we can get another 200 manpower per turn. 2,000 per turn. That helps. That helps a lot. Again, I do find recruits tend to be the #1 bottleneck in this game, so you really want to be upgrading that as much as possible. But conquest for the extra population is part of that game, so you need to be ready for that. I would also like to get some extra generals, if we can, for more governors, just so we can get extra science per turn, extra recruits, extra whatever. So let's see if we can upgrade the... for some reason, we cannot. Oh, I don't actually have enough wood. Oh, okay, hang on. Let's end this turn. Go to the generals here. We're going to upgrade you once. We have an additional general for hire as long as we have enough regions. So let's see. Nope, we cannot hire a new general because we have not captured 4 regions. We've only captured 3, so I need to conquer somebody else. Let's go to the general and improve your skills a little bit more. Let's see. You, I will go ahead and increase the health. We'll improve the marksman. And now we have finished off all our basic skills by turn 16 with this general. So that's an extra 8% health and 8% effectiveness for marksmen, cavalry, and infantry. Not too shabby. Let's go to our governor. We could improve our trade and such. Instead, I want to try for speechcraft, which for some reason I still can't do. I do not know why I can't do this. That seems a little bit bizarre to me, but okay. Let's reduce the cost of construction so everything's a little bit cheaper. And cartographer for movement in regions doesn't seem to matter all that much. We only have 5 XP remaining. I think we're going to have to hold on to the rest. Okay. So we need to hire up some more troops. What is our general currently missing? More infantry, 1 more archer, and 2 more cavalry. Okay, we can probably handle that. Let's get a couple more axemen, 1 more hunter, and I'm thinking cavalry lancer and a rider. We have a fair bit of leftover iron, but not a lot of recruits. You can see how rapidly we've chewed through all of our manpower, so we have to be very cautious here. That's why I want to use my iron to upgrade all these units so they last a little bit longer and make my manpower go a lot further. Let's go ahead and add all of you to the group. Okay. Then I'm going to go to the training camp. We're going to go to our axemen, and we're going to go ahead and just upgrade you all the way up to level 10. Make them better against cavalry. We can make their new ones cost less manpower, which we probably should have done first, now that I think about it. Let's improve their effectiveness against, let's say, the archers. We can improve fortification damage, which is quite nice, but I think I'd rather deal with, again, more archers. We will improve their health a bit further, and we will improve their ability against other infantry. So that is our finalized axemen. They're kind of okay, very good at killing other archers, pretty decent against other infantry, not so good when facing cavalry. For our archers, let's go ahead and upgrade the hunters a bit further. We're going to do the same thing here. They cost less recruits, so we can field more of them for less. We could increase their damage. I think I'm just going to increase their health, so they last longer in fights. After death, the unit returns 15% of its value, returns some recruitment to the manpower pool, and also gives you some of your iron back. That can be quite nice. Lets you get your troops back on the field a little bit faster. Do I want that, or do I want infantry? Over infantry, I think I will go ahead and have them return their value. We could do more damage to fortifications. I'd rather do extra damage against more archers, so they're very good at archer killing, and let's improve their infantry damage. Now, I may not be using these guys to attack infantry, but infantry might attack me, and I'd like to do as much damage as possible, so sometimes having a good balance is not such a bad idea. Let's improve our riders a couple times and our cavalry lancers. Nope, I'm out of iron, never mind. We will make you better against cavalry and cavalry again. These are going to be some cavalry slayers. Okay, and now we sit back and improve our... Actually, let's go to our research. Hang on. So some of this stuff we can get immediately. Let's go as far down here as possible. I would love to get to this. Every captured town generates an extra 20 iron per turn. So the more we capture, the more iron I get. Sounds great. And because we already had enough points, we're actually going to finish up a few more of the techs up over here. And then in a couple of turns, we are going to have this available. Okay, so now the Saxons have declared war on us. Honestly, I would like for them to leave their home base and attack me somewhere else, because then I can use some of my wood to set up some fortifications and get a tiny bit of extra damage. So I'm not going to do anything against them right now. If anything, we're going to pull back and try to draw them into my territory. But once that's done, we can just rush in here, and they won't be able to rebuild their army very quickly at all. Have upgraded the suburbs, the recruitment's a little bit more, some more iron, some more wood, and so on. Let's go to our generals, make sure that they are in tip-top shape. Can I do speechcrafts? No, still can't do speechcraft. That's very bizarre. Okay. So you then... You're already maxed out kind of as a general. Let's go for things like training so we get some extra research per turn out of you. Can't go for the next level because we don't have enough. That's fine. And then for you, still can't do speechcraft with you? No. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do trade to get some extra gold for every turn. And let's go for governor for extra gold. Can't do that. Okay, buyer. Nope, we're out of XP. Never mind. That seems perfectly fine. Okay. Could upgrade the units a little bit more. Probably will in just a moment. Let's talk a little bit about upgrading our barracks and stuff, though. So let's go to, let's say, infantry. Actually, we have a bonus for, like, archers and cavalry, right? Let's do archers. So if you want to upgrade, you click on the little hammer right here. Or alternatively, if you can't find that and you're having trouble clicking on it, just go down here and you can build. So we're going to spend some wood to upgrade this. This also does give me population, which translates into extra manpower. So upgrading all your buildings is always a good thing. We'll do this twice, though, because once you reach level 2, you can now spend some gold to unlock the scout. Now, of course, I've used up all my gold, so we'll have to do that later. But this has a bit more attack value, some pretty decent health still, similar to everything else, and good stats across the board. We will have to use a lot of iron, though, in order to get these guys fully upgraded so they can do more damage to all their units. We can improve these stats by a substantial margin. All right, so the Saxons have fallen for our trap. They are going to begin laying siege to this province over here. Now, you'd expect that if you moved your army in here, it would automatically attack them. For some reason, I haven't figured out yet how to attack them, though they obviously know how to attack me before the siege is complete. So we're just going to sit here. We'll be able to reinforce this town. In the meantime, though, let's go ahead and build a school of engineers, and that is going to set up one reinforced watchtower as some sort of a reinforcement, some sort of a defensive structure. In order to attack our army, they have to attack and destroy the fortifications first, which kind of whittles down their numbers just a wee little bit and softens them up so I can counterattack. Now that we have a little bit of gold, let's go back to our archery here. We are going to spend, I think it's 8,000 gold, yes, to research the scout, so that is now available, and we can start buying these units. Again, they cost a fair number of recruits and a lot more iron. But if we go to the training camp, we could just start upgrading them and eventually reduce that iron cost and the recruitment cost from recruits. So it just makes everything easier if we want to start training up a bunch of these to eventually replace the fallen hunters. Alright, since we had an army in position before the siege, we now get to join in. He has more numbers, but not nearly as much power. We are way more effective than he currently is. Not to mention, I have a level 14 general versus his level 1, so that gives you an idea just how much the extra XP has affected us. So he gets to do the initial attack. He attacks the watchtower, loses one unit, and manages to take it down with the second. So he's been softened up a tiny little bit already. Now again, we need to find a unit that we want to kill. We have an advantage. So for example, Hunter, 180% damage against other archers. That's fine. But if we're going to attack somebody using an archer, we want to hit somebody who's weak against archers. So this marksman, for example, with only 57, is a pretty easy target. He's not going to get to attack my cavalry, and we're not going to take a lot of damage in the process because we do significantly more damage than he does. This rider is extremely good against other cavalry or against other infantry. Let's see, are there any infantry I really want to take out? Not particularly. let's see. We're going to use you against... What do I want to take away from him? Let's take away his cavalry lancer. We'll use this cavalry lancer, or maybe... Let's use, let's say, this axeman against this hunter, since this hunter is relatively weak against infantry, but we are good against archers. So this should work very well in my favor. We took a little bit of damage, but not too bad. He's losing a lot more units once again. I'm going to use you to take out this hunter here. I'm going to use this hunter to take out the cavalry, because the cavalry are pretty weak against archers, so we should be able to take them out without taking a lot of damage. Boom, okay. We've lost a few units, but overall, not too bad. You are weak against archers, and I have an archer who's good against that, so let's attack you here. You are also weak against archers, so the hunters get to finish you off. Finish turn, ba-boom. We win that fight, the Saxons lose their entire army. Now we are going to counterattack and move into your territory, which for some reason, once again, I can't seem to get into. Ah! Alright, there we go. It only took like 45 clicks and gave me carpal tunnel, but boom, there we go. We're now in Saxony. We're going to have to reinforce his general. He's lost he's lost an axeman and a cavalry. Well, that's probably fine. Let's go ahead and sell off some of our excess luxury resources. We have enough gold we can buy something new, so let's see. I'm going to go to the cavalry station. We are going to upgrade you once more like so. And then we are going to unlock the horseman for 8,000 gold, which we already did just now. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade you, see if we can make it a little bit cheaper, and then we're going to use horsemen to start replacing the weaker units. Marco Mani declared war on me. All right, that's probably fine. We're still going to take out the Saxons, and then when you decide you want to cause problems, we'll come back to you. Can we attack here? Okay. So this is a bug that I've occasionally run into where for some reason the sieges just break randomly for no obvious reason. I don't know if maybe pulling back will do the job. Let's see if we can do this again. We'll have to set it again in a couple of turns. Let's do one more like so. Can we attack? No, for some reason it just will not let us take the Saxons' land. So that's a bit of a bug, bit of a hot code issue that we're going to have to see fixed at some point in the near future. Who am I under attack again? Ah, these guys down over here. Fine, all right. Since you're going to be a problem, let's just go ahead and move our armies down over here and see if we can take you out. Interesting. Before they were able to attack my capital, they immediately offered a truce, and our Council of Elders accepted. Yeah, that's also kind of a true-to-form thing with Hamsters Gaming, where they just declare peace without your consent. You just really don't have much choice in the matter. Okay, let's try this one more time, see if we can get up over here with you. If not you, then we're going to have to attack some of our other neighbors. Sorry. Let's go ahead and jump forward a couple of turns. He's trying to generate some more troops, which is annoying. Okay, can we attack? Nope, for some reason it once again is breaking. So there's literally no way for us to win this war against the Saxons, which is extremely annoying. All right, well, I guess we're just going to have to go and attack our neighbors in Thuringia. Yeah, I do want to attack them because we can't really do anything else against the Saxons, so we got to expand somehow. Let's go ahead and jump forward a couple of turns like so. And now that the Western Roman Empire has moved, let's attack. If it'll let me. Nope. Okay, for some reason we can't seem to do any more sieges at all. So yeah, that's a bit of a hot code issue. Oh god, the Roman Empire is on my borders. Ugh. Okay, I don't know if we need to be a little bit worried about that. They are at war with, not me, fortunately. They're heading over here, but yeah, that's always a little bit scary. Anyway, as I said, a bit of a hot code issue is preventing us from continuing, and that's unfortunate, but the good news is Hamsters Gaming is usually pretty quick with their hot fixes, so I expect this to get resolved pretty soon. In the meantime, though, we have highlighted all the major mechanics, and you can see that Last Day of Rome is a fair bit more involved and intensive than a lot of the other games coming from Hamsters Gaming, and I think that's a really good step in the right direction. If you are interested in picking up the game for yourself, you can find a link in the description down below to get to the Steam store. Otherwise, I do hope that you found this video entertaining and informative. If so, then I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and hit that notify bell, and I, as always, will see you guys next time.